First of all, thank you for having me. As a matter of fact, I think the people who are the leaders of the world are taking action, a serious action, because they felt that leaving AI with the private sector will take us for a place. So yes, what happened in India, the speech of President Macron and the speech of the Prime Minister Modi and the other leaders, they raised the red flag that if we continue on with this, very fast advancement in technology and keeping the thing in the hand of the private sector, nations will not be as good as they are now. So, having said this, I think there are two ways that we need to follow. The very first one is the tactical one, and I command what my good friend Elena just mentioned, that a lower price, fast and accurate algorithms are good for us to start with. But you cannot keep on relying on foreign, between brackets, foreign technology while you wanted to build your own sovereign AI. And let me here quote what Jensen Huang said, who is the CEO and founder of NVIDIA, when he was interviewed in the World Global Summit in Dubai. That was in 2024. He said AI is a sovereign tool. It's a sovereign thing that you can use for your country. Having mentioned that this is a sovereign tool, it means each country they have to have their own AI. And as you know, AI is made up of algorithms, of data centers, and of rules that, rules of using AI. So from this perspective, I think every nation on the strategic level, they have to focus on having their own, sovereign AI. And that's what Egypt is doing. That's what UAE is doing, and that's what Saudi Arabia. They are doing, going into that direction. On the tactical level, you need to use the DeepSeek, you need to use the ChatGPT, and all of those tools that are already there. But on the strategic level, of course, you need to work on having your own. And we are starting to see some of our own LLMs and SLMs that are being used in the region.
That's very interesting. I'll come to you, Alina, to you. Given what you said before, can Africa and Asia build independent AI infrastructure so that they don't have to repeat the digital colonialism rather of previous technological revolutions?
Well, I think this is a $1 million question. Thank you for the question. As a matter of fact, as we all can see, that everybody now is having interest in Africa. And I think this is based on economic studies nationwide across different nations. That's one thing. The other thing is, the beauty about AI, you don't need other than the simple infrastructure of building for data centers. Other than that, you need to have the innovative brains hosted. I mean, the national people do their work, learning about innovation, learning about AI, and from that perspective, I think there is no problem at all that even the developing countries in general, not only Africa and Asia, globally speaking, they can set aside the developed countries and compete with them. And as a good example, I mean, look at the Stargate project that brought in the USA to UAE, with the big difference in, relatively speaking, about the population and the size of the country. They came into the region. Why is it so? Because they felt, first of all, it is feasible for them. It has its own economic reasons. Besides, talking about energy, I mean, Africa, that's the best place for you on earth that you can have the renewable energy there. Besides the fact that not many, the cost of labor is so cheap as compared to other places. So maybe we can see on the long run, as I can see it now, maybe Africa will be deploying, Africa and Asia, but maybe with more focus on Africa, because the labor is much cheaper than the Asian labor. Maybe we can see LLMs and the disruptive technologies in general being developed in Africa and sent across the globe, because uh, the energy is much cheaper there. The labor is much cheaper, as well as you will have. It's not difficult to have talented scientists building expertise and skills in Africa and Asia as well.
And Alina Timofeeva, so this will the energy from bankrupting national power grids?
Well, here comes the issue of governance. Yes, indeed, we need to have this, because you cannot let the private sector do it their way all across. Because we know the private sector is after making more money and more investment and more increasing their treasures. And as you can see, for example, the seven magnificent now, they own the owners of the seven magnificent, they own more than Europe when we're talking about treasure and budget. And that is really something that we have to look at. So definitely we need to have governance, not only about the energy, more governance about ethics, about the responsible AI. And yes, every country, they should have their own regulations to regulate the use of energy. And let me give you an example. In 2023, 2024, OpenAI, this is just to give a sense of what we're talking about, the amount of energy that's being used by those models. In 23, 24, OpenAI, they announced that ChatGPT 4 to 4.5, okay, it consumed water just for cooling the systems. And listen to this number, as much as having the population of Tokyo, which is 8 million inhabitants, okay?
Wow.
The same amount of water that people in Tokyo were drinking at that year, ChatGPT took. But even more than this, people can drink regular water, but our systems, our transformers, okay, they have to have a distilled water, not even a Perrier. It's much more expensive. So this gives you an idea that yes, indeed, we need to go into the green energy, into the saving the recycling of the energy. And that's why, again, I say the Africa, and back again to the Stargate program. Part of it is to develop that solar energy and to use the wind and renewable energy in the region. And we have plenty of that. As a matter of fact, Africa is the best place for saving energy globally. And maybe this is one of the blessings of Africa, that now the developed countries, they realize, oh my God, now we have to go back and develop and invest in Africa. And I'm quite sure that you do see how much interest and how much the appetite is open from all of the big giants to go into Africa and to invest there.
So we're talking the enough water for the whole of Tokyo, 8 million people for a year, just to cool the systems of OpenAI, and that has to be distilled water. Alina, coming to you, Dr. Neda, as well, coming to you for this. So armies around the world are using AI. They're accelerating their use of AI in warfare. One of the questions people are asking is, how do we guarantee human judgment remains central to life and death choices? Not particularly confident that human judgment is the best thing either, to be fair, with recent conflicts. But is this a worry with AI, or is this just fantasy or problem making?
Well, I think since 2023, I had an interview with one of the international networks about the Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the UN at that time, declaration that would AI, make a threat to humanity. And I think since then, and now we have recently another declaration from Mr. Guterres on the 4th of February talking about the same thing. And this is even, we didn't get into the issue of the war doctrine. I think AI in general, and I said that since 2023, AI can be very rosy. We can have our lives beautifully, managed with AI, with the agentic AI, now with the new era of quantum computing. But at the same time, if we don't manage it properly, it's even much worse than drugs, much more worse than the nuclear power. And I'm quoting here Mr. Guterres. In 2023, he said, we need to establish an international agency for AI, similar to the way that we have an international agency for nuclear energy. Having said this, and I think looking around us in the Middle East, we can see how the war doctrine has been changed due to AI. It is catastrophic. It's a homicide, I would say, for humanity. It's not only a genocide. So, we're killing each other if we keep on with the same attitude that AI is taking care of making the decision on whom to kill and whom not to kill. Having said this, not only on military level, despite of the fact that the military level it's much more important than the other facets, because in military we're talking about human lives, human spirits. But in general, we should not let AI decide for us. This is flat. We have to have our AI is under our supervision. Always make the human factor is the decider. The decision making should be done by us. So what about if you're talking about a military warfare? It's a must. And in fact, here we have to have back again to Mr. Guterres' declaration. We need to have as soon as possible an agency that would control the behavior of AI and the development of AI across the globe. Mind you, the focus should be we should start with with the military, because we're going the wrong direction for humanity as in general.
Alina Timofeeva, future of AI power found in the massive Silicon Valley ventures, or is there plenty of room for the minilateral alliances that pool the data across the global south?
Well, I think we cannot hide it that the Silicon Valley owns the major masses of LLMs, the data centers, and the know-how. But indeed, so tactically speaking, yes, Silicon Valley is making the major role in developing AI. On the other part, we have their counterpart, the Chinese. Also, they are working real hard on it. Now, the issue is on the long run, I think the multilateral cooperation outside the Silicon Valley will prevail because of the fact if we look at the geopolitics, we know very well how hard things are becoming between the Chinese and the Americans. And in the meantime, we can see that the Europeans are raising their flag, the red flag, that, okay, we cannot stay, following these or those. So, in other words, there will be some more multilateral cooperation outside the Silicon Valley. And as we proceed in the development of AI and with the focus of, on ethical AI, I can see quite well because I travel a lot and do a lot of meetings and conferences across the globe. Yes, despite of the fact that the Americans they're not happy with the having some international rules, but I think globally speaking, with the exception of the Americans, everybody is looking for an ethical guidelines that will be set by the UN and followed by every nation. I think they will prevail at the end of the day. And this is for the sake and interest for all humanity, because you cannot have a power concentration put in one country, in one entity, in one corporation. Now we're talking about the humanity destiny. And with that in mind, most probably, I mean, the Europeans, they are feeling the heat already. The South-South conference that we had last week in India, well, a few days back, it showed that they are not happy with what's going on. With that in mind, I think there will be some emergence of more coalitions outside the US as well as outside the Chinese, despite of the fact that the Chinese showed some flexibility on having global governance.
Well, thank you very much. Whenever I speak to experts like yourselves, I always feel just a little bit smarter afterwards, a lot smarter.